Hey guys, so recently I've been contemplating how we implemented users, managers, and properties into the apartments.com clone. And this diagram here is a good representation of how it is currently working. So we have one user which ties to one manager account, and then from that manager account it can have multiple different properties associated with it. So my initial thinking was that we could assign multiple different users to a manager account because it's possible for multiple different people to own and manage a property. But the way that we have it currently is that we have one user to one manager. So we really aren't even taking advantage of this thinking. So the change that we're going to make is to simply just get rid of the manager and tie each user to their properties. And I think this is a more elegant solution because one, there's less code to manage, and two, if we have an instance where a user has two different properties under two different companies, then that user would have to create two separate management accounts, and that just becomes burdensome whenever the manager account really only has the website, email, and phone number, and that's all it's really doing. So I just think the best solution is to tie users to properties, and that's what we are going to do in today's video. So to get started, let's go to our database and drop the tables of apartments, properties, and managers. And pretty much we're just dropping anything associated with managers. So I'm just going to run this query and drop those three tables. So now I'm going to head back to my server code, and here in my server code I'm going to navigate to main.go. And I'm just going to get rid of these different routes pertaining to manager. I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to go to the manager model, get rid of that. We'll no longer be needing this, so let's delete it. We can get rid of the manager route. We can go into the database and we can change our migration here to get rid of manager. And now we just need to go to the function where we are creating properties. So let's go to the property route. And here in the property input, let's change manager ID to user ID. And let's go up above here and specify that user ID needs to be property input.user ID. And here we're going to get this error saying unknown field. So we need to go to our property model. And let's get rid of manager ID and input user ID. And let's go and save this. Now we need to go to the user model. And we now need to say that this one user can have multiple properties. I think we're good, so I'm just going to start up my server. And let's go and make sure that our tables got created. So yep, we have apartments and properties now. So with that done, let's go into the application side of things and go make our changes there. So back within our application code, we can go to a few different places. We're going to start off by going to this create manager screen. So I'm just going to comment all of this stuff out because we're going to be reusing some of this stuff, such as this validation with the phone numbers and this React Native phone input, or our phone input component. So we will just comment that out for now, but you can delete it if you would like. And now I'm going to go to the add property screen, and we're just going to get rid of this import, and we don't need this manager query anymore, so get rid of that. We aren't going to need this or any of this. And now we can get rid of some of these spaces. And then here we can also get rid of this because we're going to be creating an edit property screen for that. Let's get rid of these unused imports. All right, next place to go is going to be the constants. We no longer have a manager endpoint, so let's get rid of that. And these subsequent endpoints. Next place to go is going to be the add property section. Here we aren't going to have a manager, so let's get rid of this. Let's also get rid of query client and get rid of these imports. Now down here, we don't have a manager, so we're going to have to say user. So we need to import useAuth. And we need to get the user from there. And here we're going to say if user, then we need to specify the user ID. So this is no longer going to be manager ID, but user ID. And here we're going to need to modify create property. So let's go there. This is going to be a user ID, which will be a number. And here we're going to get an error saying string is not assignable to type number. So we just made a little mistake within our user type. So let's go there and change that to a number. And while we're in types, let's go and delete the manager type. And let's head back to the add property section. All right, so with those changes made, let's go and test it out. So let's navigate to the add a property screen. And let's just type in some random address. So here we can see that that worked. Let's go back into our database and then query the properties to make sure that that worked as well. So let's go select everything from properties. And here we can see the property that we just input. So that is working like a charm. The user ID is consistent with the user that I just created, or not that I created, but the user I just input the property with. Select everything from users. And here we can see that I use this account to create that property. And if we go back, we can see that that is the same account. So with that refactor done, in the next video, we are going to be going over editing properties and actually putting properties out on the market, or getting to that stage. We're going to be building out the UI. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching.